Hello everyone, this is Joker, or Commander Omegon if you will, and welcome to my channel. There was this Saturday a Q&A about the new Warhammer 40,000 edition, 9th edition, coming up. And someone put down the bullet points that I will be talking through. I put them on screen as well, and give a little bit of my commentary on there, or maybe even some further explanation from what I've heard on the Q&A myself. First point, lots of great terrain rules, including quantity quality recommendations, meaning there will be a guideline how many terrain you will be needing to have the most balanced games. This will collide with how the new rules will be working and stuff like that. I'm wondering how well it will be implemented and how well it will be working, but I have good hopes. No change to turn mechanic. It will be the same as always. They think it's a good mechanic, so why change a winning team? Reserves. Spend CP to put units into reserve to come in from board, edge or sides. Strategic reserves where you can put units into reserves. I'm not sure if the sides or edges are one and the same stratagem or two different, but and I do think that units that already have deep strike from themselves will not be needed to pay those command points. But I do like the idea that this option is more available. Outflanking for white scars more, not sure if they already had a stratagem for that, but non-white scars can then also do it, stuff like that. Terrain will have tags. Obscure, the footprint blocks a line of sight. No more shooting at fingers through windows. Basically, that means you cannot shoot through those terrain pieces. And that I do really like. Little bit of speculation. You can shoot into and out to, but not through. I have no idea how that will be implemented with actual line of sight. But this I like. It helps a lot of gameplay and mechanics. So yeah, I have good hopes for that. Bullet point 5. Vehicles and monsters shoot in combat. I like that a lot. Not just because I like to play tank heavy, even though my latest army is basically full on infantry, but I really want to put my emulators back to use. But main reason that they are out of use is more because of the detachments and command points. More on that later. Meaning, when a single grot, or a few grot, tie up a tank, the tank will be able to shoot them down, or at least try, because grots are notoriously hard to kill. Mission design is tailored between game types. Mike Brandt from Nova worked closely on the comp missions, meaning that the different types of play, as stated, will have missions tailored to that style of play. Narrative will be more missions like ambush and stuff like that, and the competition play missions will be more like what we see on ITC. I don't think it will be the exact thing as we see on ITC, but who knows, we will see. At least it's good that someone who basically organizes a large event has worked on the missions. That gives good insight. Plus weapons will still have dice rolls, just with some improvements. Okay, how that completely will be implemented, it's not sure yet. It could be, for example, you get +1 damage, or +1 hit, I must say, for each 5 in the unit. with maybe then up till the maximum shots, or maybe just that. No idea. Blast is just a keyword, and those will be defined in the rulebook themselves, they said. Non-codex compliant chapters will get new Primaris gear. Meaning that with probably the obvious exemption of the Grey Knights, all those new Space Marine units will be available for every Marine player. This includes the Death Watch, which is good. But then again, how that will work with the Death Watch, again, no idea. Death Watch is getting new stuff right after 9th. So, as soon as the book, the new edition hits, a little bit later, Death Watch will get their new codex. So, that's good for them. Not much to say about it, except for interesting. Yes, you can still use old Space Marines. So the Firstborn, as they are now being known, are still usable. That means that the Space Marine Codex will not be a small codex. I wonder what that will mean for the price. And I wonder what that will mean for how they will work. Because the Primaris are less flexible, but more durable. And basically their weapons are more devastating in general. And the old Marines are more flexible, cheaper. So it is basically a nice trade-off. That company may be getting the chainswords back. Right, maybe is a maybe. And not gonna speculate too much on that. Yes, new characters are coming this edition. So, new special characters will be added to armies. Question is, which armies and what characters? I got a feeling, obviously, for Space Marines again, and most likely then Ultramarines, because Ultramarines. But who knows? Fort World rules already finished, just waiting for release. Fort World, their indexes, or how they will be called afterwards, I have no idea, are now basically made by or in close conjunction with the 40k rules teams. Meaning that their rules are more tailored to the codex, instead of just, here's an awesome unit, we give it some approximate rules and bye-bye. And this is a good thing, That means that the units will fit more in the army and hopefully be less overpowered or less underpowered in some cases, but Fort World almost never was underpowered. So yeah, Vigilus books are usable. All the rules that came out, may it be White Dwarf or campaigns like example Vigilus, but also the Psychic Awakenings are still fully usable. That counts for all the codices that are currently in operation. You can still use them. They are still compatible with the new edition. New Space Marine and Necron rules will be in the boxes with the models. I'm not sure if they mean the new starter set, because obviously I expect them in there. And why wouldn't they? They did it with Shadow Spear. I think they even did it with Dark Imperium in the beginning. Especially in all the rules for Dark Imperium are in there. You can play it without the codex. So this only makes sense. And besides, GW hardly ever brings out models that you cannot use with rules they have. They hardly even do it the other way around these days. So, yeah. Sixes always hit. Basically, if you roll a 6, you hit. No matter the modifiers. More on that later. Lucky shots, you cannot go below 6. Simple as that. 7 is 7 is 7. 8 is 8. 9 is 9. 10 is 10. 11 is 11. 12 is 12. 13 is 13. 14 is 14. 15 is 15. 16 is 16. 17 is 17. 18 is 18. 19 is 19. 20 is 20. 21 is 21. 22 is 22. 23 is 23. 24 is 24. 25 is 25. 26 is 26. 27 is 27. 28 is 28. 29 is 29. 30 is 30. 31 is 31. 32 is 32. 33 is 33. 34 is 34. 35 is 35. 36 is 36. 37 is 37. 38 is 38. 39 is 38. 40 is 40. 41 is 41. 42 is 42. 43 is 43. 44 is 44. 45 is 45. 46 is 46. 47 is 47. 48 is 48. 49 is 49. 50 is 50. 51 is 51. 52 is 52. 53 is 53. 54 is 54. 55 is 55. 56 is 56. 57 is 57. 58 is 58 Ones will always be a fail, obviously. Factions will get specific rules to support Crusade rules. There will be a basic Crusade, or let's put down as narrative in the rulebook, but the codices will get some extras in them to support that, which is nice. I really like the idea of Crusade, but mostly I play competitive. Crusade upgrades are assigned to your army, not a campaign, meaning that you will be able to play with basically an upgrading army even on pickup games. Those upgrades you probably will have to pay for. No idea if that will be with command points or actual points, but we'll see. I am really interested in seeing how those will work. Core rules will be longer than 8 pages, meaning there will be a little bit more core rules than we have right now. But also I've been told that a few of those pages are just simple clarifications via images. So how much more actual rules? I don't know. Probably train a little bit more in the core rules. Modifiers will be capped at +1 or -1. I think they are talking about to hit modifiers, that you can have no more than +1, -1. And the way I read it, the way they explained it, was a little bit short but concise. And I dislike it. Especially with the 6s always hit like a rule, you do not need a cap on modifiers. On the other hand, too much modifiers is not fun gaming. Again, I still don't like it. Harlequins is one of my armies, and they really had to play around to -2, -3 on to hit for your opponent. And that was via relics and via psychic powers, I believe, and via stratagems. Sure, it makes it more spread out, but those stratagems have become basically useless for 2/3 of my army. And I dislike that. It takes away from the power, it takes away from, in this case, my army. And in other cases, it might be a good thing. So maybe Harlequins will be the exception to the rule, so some others are with other rules. Morale getting revamped. Right now, either everyone dies or nobody dies. No idea how they mean it. They just said that Reavers and Night Lords will be more interesting for the morale phase, and that it now was just an all or nothing thing. I never really felt it was an all or nothing, but then again, I always have had high leadership, and if I failed, the most I ever lost were 3 models from a 15-girl squad that basically lost half of the unit through shooting anyway. So, we'll see. More models will be added to Legends slowly. That means, even though old Marines are still usable, do not be surprised that some of them will be gone to Legend. And this will mean for more units. So yeah, meaning it gives them an option to create new models, put them in the codex and take out if they think it are too many in the codex. CP are generated based on the size of the game, not the army composition. The way I understand it is that you get an X amount per, let's say, 500 points. Or they have a chart for it, with 500 points you get 2, with 1000 you get 5. With 2000, you get 10. These are random numbers, just saying. Probably be a little bit more than that. That is interesting, especially knowing that you need to use them to unlock different or other or more detachments and or codices to use. So it will be more, you choose what you play, you bring the models to the table you want to, and after that it will be decided how many you still have left, basically. That's good. Power level still in the game, but will be revised, not as often as chapter proved necessary. So if, for example, a unit power is completely out of whack because of new rules and stuff like that, they can still change it, and it will have an impact on certain missions and things like that. Maybe even stratagems. But yeah, not sure how it will be prevalent to the game at this point anyway, so I don't know how much of an impact it will be having. Like I said, we will see. Crusade can be run individually, in groups or events. I already talked a little bit about that. So it will not be fixed to a group. You can use for pickup games. And no idea how it will be handy for events, but that's all on the event organizer anyway. Mortar wounds work the same way. Okay, simple, concise. Not gonna talk more about that. We already know how those work. Troops won't be required to generate command points anymore. They will have objective secure, but you can go with an all elite heavy, etc. and have the same command points. That means an all Ravenwing army, for example, can be a viable field. You just don't have OBSEC. Or Custodes. Yeah, take one big squad of troops to hold, or to hold objectives, and the rest put down in the elites. With this, I do wonder how they will change the detachments themselves, though. Will they be as we know them now, or will they create completely new detachments? No answer on that yet, but we'll see. Again, mortar wounds, we already had that. Sorry about that. Future codices will include best of from previous supplements, but not necessarily all. Meaning, like Trek Waking have a lot of tons of new upgrades and stuff like that. When the new codex comes, they will implement some of them that they find relevant to the army. Meaning that some might be not in there, but as long as those books will be available, you will still be able to use them from the books. But you don't necessarily will need the books for, well, let's say, the best. Which is actually handy once the new codex hits. And that means that the codex will be a lot bigger. CP is determined based on size of your game and mission. Okay, this is a little bit of a double point, but meaning that the type of mission will give you extra CP as well, maybe. You can and cannot trust Pete Foley's whiteboard. Right. During every cutout, his whiteboard changed, like Primaris are all Avarius. Yeah, that's an obvious joke, but there can be a few truths between all the nonsense there. So you cannot trust it, but there are some truths in there. Playing Crusade games gives your units / armies level up bonuses. We already understood that would be the case. Basically, when a squad becomes a veteran, they will remain a veteran until everybody dies. Then you lose the bonus, obviously. Again, troops aren't required some double points. GW expects armies to have more variety due to new CP generation. First, I'll need to see that, because obviously strong units are obviously strong units. I hope the rule of 3 will still be a thing. On the other hand, yeah, why not do away with the rule of 3? It's yeah. On the one hand, I really like the rule of 3. On the other hand, I want to field much more units from certain types just because I think they're awesome. I mean, Scissor of Battle, full on Exorcist army. Okay, that might be completely overpowered, but still. That's the same reason why I hope they keep the rule of 3. So, if they do, most competitive armies will gravitate to the gameplay that is basically formed around the strongest units anyway. There will be a rules appendage in the back. Sounds like USR or some variation making a comeback. Yeah. In the back of the book there will be a synopsis or something like that. Appendix, as they call it. Will be nice, but as soon as new codex hits there will be few rules. There might be rules that no longer there, but I think basically it means the most common rules or all the rules that are out right now, special rules will be in there. Space Marine chainswords will be better than the other guard chainswords. This is a good thing, I think. It gives a little bit more variety of weapons, but on the other hand, a chainsword is a chainsword, and it will be a little bit convoluted. But on the other hand, you just know when Space Marine is wielding his chainsword, it will be more deadlier than any other chainsword. So, it's not that convoluted. As I said in previous video, I expect them to be still +1 attack, and to be added to that will be -1 AP. But that is just speculation. Right, that was the Q&A. So far, most things that were said, I am excited about, except for the cap on the modifiers. I have no idea how to think of it. And that's really... Well, it depends on a few things, obviously, but still. Please leave your comments down below. What do you think of these points? If you're still hyped for 9th edition, I know I still am. I think that the most things I heard are solid, are good. So yeah. I wish you all well, hope you all stay safe, and see you all next time. Bye bye.